Hi guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how I made this animation in Blender. So we're going to talk about step by step and it's very easy to do. So let's begin it. Okay, so here's Blender opened. I'm going to select everything and hit X to delete it. Okay, so now we need a plan, which is going to be a ground object. We're going to scale it to something like 17 meter on every axis like that. And I'm going to open up a new window. I'm going to go to shadow editor here. I'm just starting out texturing it because I don't want to waste the time. So I'm going to hit new. And if I just select this and hit Control Shift T, I have the BBR material. I'll put the link to same material in the description down below if you want to use it. It's a very great material that I really love. And I would also like to share it with your people. So here we go. We have this material selected and principled. As you can see, it's loaded all the images perfectly. By the way, the click that I have done by hitting Control Shift T is due to an add-on. I go to Edit, Preferences, and turn on Node Wrangler add-on, which is very, fast add-on to do some easy stuff with nodes. Okay, so here's it's loaded. I'm gonna go into Material View. As you can see, it's just some squares going on, and we don't want it to be like that large. We're gonna make it smaller. So I'm gonna hit Tab. And I'm going to select everything and I'm going to scale it up like that. Because in fact, if you go to the scale of this, we are at 17 scale and it is very huge. So we're going to scale it like that. I think that is fine. Okay. So as we know that our scene is like a very wet ground. So in order to make it wet, we need to add something that is going to look really good. So how are we going to add the wet material? Well, there is a texture that we're going to use as, what it calls as a roughness map to control the roughness of the surface. So if you go to object data under UV maps, we have just one UV map. I'm going to click new, add a new UV map, and I'm going to go to shadow editor. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to add an image texture. I'm going to open up the image texture that I'm going to use. Go to assets. Let me just grab the texture. I'll put the link to the same texture in the description down below. So I have selected texture. Let's just grab the color into the roughness down here. And if you look at this, it is using the old UV map created for this other material, which is very huge. So how to fix it? Go to UV editor, select the other UV map, hit tab, select everything and hit U and Q projection. And if you just go to object mode, go to shadow editor, Shift A, I'm going to add a UV map here. And I'm going to add the second UV map, UV map.001. And I'm going to connect the UV to the vector right here. So now what it does, it's going to use the second UV map as a roughness map. You can scale it up. I can play around with the scale. I'm going to slightly scale it up like that. I'm going to go to shadow editor and I'm going to hit Shift A and add a color and I will put it between those nodes and I'm going to increase the white value to control the roughness of the material. If I make it all the way up, it's going to remove the wet surface of the ground. And if I decrease it, it's going to make it very red. And this is what we wanted. Okay. So now it's time to add a camera. So I'm going to hit Shift A and I'm going to add camera. I'm going to go to camera view. As you can see, it's gone to somewhere else. I'm going to hit N. Under view, I'm going to click camera to view. And if I hit N again, I can move it around. I can play around with different settings. Okay. So under camera settings, I'm going to increase the focal length like that. And under the output settings, I'm going to make these 1080. Enter. I just want to make something like, a vertical size for TikTok or Facebook Reels. Okay, so I think we have increased the focal length very much. Right now, it does look really good, I think, and we're good to go. I'm going to select the ground material. And now let's add some sort of normals. I'm going to hit Shift A. I'm going to add a bump node in between these. I'm going to grab the color of this node into the height of this. So we get some extra bumps. I'm going to hit N, turn off the camera to view. So we not mess the view of the camera. So if you look at this, it's very rough. It's because the strand, if you decrease the strand, it's not going to be very, uh, something like that. And if I just slightly increase it, it's going to look good. And I think that is fine. And now what we can do, is, yeah, that is fine. I think we are going to make some sort of other stuff. Like we're going to add a car. We're going to add some photo scans from different websites. But for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it very wet. So we have so many reflections going on like that. I got a camera view. Okay. So right now I'm going to add the man object. I will also put the link to the man object in the description down below if you want to use the same core model that I'm using in this scene. So I'm going to importing it really fast, and I will also give the same model to you. So I'm going to import the model. Here we go. We have that model. I love this model. I've already used it in my other videos, but I still like this car because it's my favorite. And yeah, it looks kind of cool. I'm going to slightly grab it down like that. And I think that is totally fine. We can change the camera angle if you want, like just slightly grabbing it down, slightly rotating it around to fit in the view, you know. Okay, so under rendering, I'm going to turn on screen space reflection. It's going to be reflected. It's going to make some reflection on the floor, which just looks really good. And right now, we're going to add some sort of photo scans into our scene. So before adding photo scans to add more details, we're going to add some lights into the scene to light up the scene. So we're going to go to render view. As you can see, it doesn't look really good. I'm going to also turn on the bloom so we get this interesting look. Maybe you can change it to cycles if you want, but right now I'm going to go for the same one. Okay, so I'm using an HDRI. If I go to world here, let me just hit Shift A. I'm going to add an environment texture, and I'm going to hit open. Okay, so I'm going to the HDRI that I'm going to be using in this video. I'm using that HDRI. I'm going to connect it to the color. So right now the strength is very high and different values. So I'm going to turn off the scale, the strength, and I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm going to rotate it on that axis. So we have these backside heel, which just looks really good. And if you want, you can also rotate it on x-axis just slightly, so we get some cool looking silhouette. And you can change your rendering to cycles to make things good. And you can also change the GPU, the device to GPU. You can turn on denoise so you can see things going on in the scene. So I'm going to save the file. I'm going to call it a man blend file, and I'm going to save it as a blender file. So right now we don't have any light. We're going to hit Shift A. I'm going to add a light, and I'm going to add an area light like that. And I can now play around with this trend, but I'm going to change it to spotlight. I'm going to move it towards upward. I'm going to make this trend to 3000. Like it's a really crazy amount of light, but we're still going to go with this sort of light. And I'm going to increase the blending of the light to all the way up to 1. And the spreading of the spot size, or you can also call it as just a spot. And as you can see, we've got some interesting looking lighting on the surface of the car, and it just looks really good. I'm going to slightly move it towards that direction. I'm going to move it slightly down like that. I think that looks really good. Hit the last. Just save it again. Okay, so now it's time to add some 3D model that is going to make the scene looks really good. So I'm going to import some models. I will also give you the link to some models in the description down below if you want the same model to be used. I'm using that model downloaded from Sketchweb, and I will also give you the link to this low poly model. It is really good for backside shots like that. And yeah, that is really good. I love it. But we don't have any sort of surface in between those, which doesn't look good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this one. I'm going to hit Shift D, and I'm going to duplicate it on Y-axis like that. I can scale it up slightly, and I can go to modifier. I'm going to add a generate and array modifier on that side. So we get something to work with. I'm going to add another array modifier. I'm going to make the x-axis to 0, and I'm going to make it on the y-axis like that. I can increase the count of those. And if I go to camera view, as you can see, we got some cool looking sidewalk going on. If you go to render view, I control S. So right now we don't get a good looking lighting. That is because our scene is also affected by the HDRI, as you can see right here. So how to play around with it? Well, I know a great method and how to deal with it. So I'm going to duplicate the background image. I'm going to add a mix shader in between those like that. And it's just going to be a gray color background, which will be affecting the scene and will showing the other HDRI. Let me just show you. I'm going to connect these with the shader. So I'm going to shift A. I'm going to add a light path like that. And I'm going to connect it this camera array to factor. So right now, what is going on? The scene is being affected. I'm gonna invert those two. Okay. So right now, the scene is affected by this background, but showing that background, the other one, by just connecting its camera array into the factor. I think that is really powerful. You can increase you can make the color to something like uh, slightly having the strength, or maybe we can make it to 0.1 maybe. And I think that is totally fine, you know. So if we have slightly rotated it on x-axis, we can just slightly make it up. So we also get the curvature of the mountain going on in the backside. So right now we have added a little amount of detail. Now it's time to add uh, photo scans into our scenes. So I'm also downloading those photo scans from Sketchfab. I'll put the link to all of them in the description down below. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to, so right here, I have imported the ground model here. As you can see, I have optimized this model. I will also share this optimized model with you people because when you download it from Sketchfab, it is not the best model at that time because it's directly from the software and it is very high quality, but I play around with different values to make it perfect for you people. So I'm going to rotate it like that and I'm going to move it around so it blends in within the scene. So if we go to render view, hit Control S to save it. As you can see, it's adding a lot into the scene and this is what we want to add, you know. So you can duplicate it again and again to get some cool looking, but we're not duplicating it. We are instancing it. So I'm going to hit Alt D and I'm going to move it on Y axis like that. And I'm going to move it like that, rotate it slightly, scale it up like that. And if we go to camera view, as you can see, we get something like this. I'm going to hit Control S and I can now slightly rotate it maybe because it doesn't look fairly good. So right now, the spot size, I think very small. We need to make it a little bigger because if it's not bigger, we will not be able to see all of those details. I'm going to select the spot and I'm going to go to the spot. And if I go to render view, I'm going to make the spot size a little higher like that. So we can also see all the detail going on. So right now, our main object, which is the plan object, is very shiny. It's because we have increased the value so much. I'm going to decrease it and I'm going to move this thing towards here like that. And I think that looks good. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go to solid mode. I can just move around and duplicate all of those photo skins here there. I'm going to hit Alt D again, x-axis, slightly rotate it. Maybe I'm going to move it towards x-axis like that. And yeah, that is looking gorgeous and I love it. So we go to camera view, we will be able to see all of those details. I'm going to hit Alt D and go towards Y. So we have something in the foreground also. And we move it towards x-axis, then y-axis like that. So we have some extra details in here. If I go to render mode, I will be able to see what is going on right now. Okay, I think that is looking fairly good and I love it. So we need to add something that is gonna make it feel good. So what it is, I'm gonna add another plan, which is going to be just okay. I'm not gonna add any other plan because it's gonna make it seem very messy. I'm gonna use some rain model, some splashes to represent the rain, but I will do it later on because right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the light. So like the road, the street light in here. So we have something that is having existence. I will also give you the same model. I will put the link in the description down below for the same model also. Here, that is the model that I will be using in this video. So I'm going to move it towards here. I'm going to slightly move it downward like that. I will make it near the car. So let me just get it down. Yeah, that is looking good. I'm going to slightly move it up. So it is matching the exact location of our light. And we go to render view, Control S. As you can see, we have a light on the other side of, because we want to capture other angles of the car, which does look really, really good. Okay, so right now we made so much stuff going on, the ground, the light. Okay, so how to make the rain falling down and also the splashes going on. It is very easy. I'm going to use a stock footage. I will put the link to the same footage and for both the rain and the splashes in the description down below. If you want to use it, I will just import all of those and I will show you how to manage. So this is something we call the rain. As you can see, if we just played, there is rain falling down, and those are the splashes that we're gonna use. Okay, so how to remove this black background? Right now, I'm gonna go to Shadow Editor. I'm gonna delete the principal node. I'm gonna hit Shift A. I'm gonna add a translucent shader. I'm gonna add a transparent shader. I'm gonna mix them together by adding mix shader. I'm going to connect the translucent to the bottom one and transparent to the top one. And I'm going to grab the color into the factor right up on here. And I'm going to shift key. I'm going to add curves, which is the RGB curves in between those. And right now, if you go to material, I'm going to go to EV and go to material. I'm going to turn off the show backface. So right now, if we just invert those two, I don't think it's kind of cyclic. If I played, what is going on? I really don't know. Wait. Oh, I'm not connecting it to the surface. Okay, right now, as you can see, background is removed successfully. As you can see, I'm going to turn off the viewport denoising so we get a crispier look. And as you can see, the rain is falling and this is what we wanted. I'm going to use the same setup for the splashes. I'm going to delete the principal. I'm going to add a translucent shader. I'm going to add a transparent shader. I'm going to mix it together by mix shader here. I'm going to connect the translucent into the bottom one, transparent into the top one, color into the factor, and shader into the surface. And I'm going to add something called curves, RGB curves in between, so we get some crispier looking. As you can see, there is going on. You can see the splashes going on. Okay, so how to scatter that? Well, I'm going to select the main object. I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to add some subdivisions into it like that, which is going to be a crazy amount. I'm going to go onto the wet paint. I'm going to wet paint around the area that we will have some splashes and rain going on. So I'm going to select all of the area that are going to have some splashes in this area. So if you go to object mode, I'm going to go to camera view and I'm going to go to particle. I'm going to add a new particle. It's a hair. I'm going to make the number to 150. I'm going to scroll down here under render. I'm going to select object and I'm going to select the rain object. We'll reset falling rain. Here we go. I'm going to select the blend. I'm going to go under instance object, select the rain object. So as you can see, it is doing something. We can scale it up by increasing the scale. We can play around with the rotation. Where is rotation? Okay, object rotation and advanced rotation. Okay. So I'm gonna rotate unlike that. So right now, if played, it is going the wrong way. It is because we need to set it up. So I'm gonna go to solid mode. I'm gonna select the main object and really there. I'm gonna grab it up slightly like that. So the origin is in the center. And I'm gonna go to top view tab and I'm going to rotate it on X. Okay, rotate X 90, negative 90 degree. So what it does, if you go to material view and if you play it, it is still going the wrong way. And I don't think it's going to fix like that. Play still going the wrong way. Okay. So rotate it on X 90 degree, rotate it on Z 90 degree. And as you can see, the rain is falling the way we want. And okay, I'm going to select the plane object and under the vertex group, I'm going to select our group here. And I'm also going to rotate the planes that it faces in the right direction. So if you think that the rain is very big, you can make it smaller by selecting the main object, hit tab, go under UV editor, select it and scale it up like that. Now you will have some smaller rain. You can make it big, small, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to select the main object, maybe the rain object, and under shadow editor, I'm going to change from clip to repeat. So we get a huge amount of rain. Okay. So right now, I think this is pretty big. I'm going to move smaller like that. Maybe the number is very high, so we can decrease the number to a very less number like that. And as you can see, this trend is going on and can increase the number if you want, but I think that is fine. Now doing the same thing for the other particle, which is the splashes. I'm going to add here, advanced. I'm going to make the number to 100. Under object, I'm going to select object and so solid. I'm going to select the splashes and I'm going to click object rotation. Select rotation. I'm going to change up so it doesn't faces the right direction. We can rotate it. If I go to material view, let me just hit tab and right now. Okay. So first of all, we're going to move it slightly out like that. So the origin as it is at the end of it. I'm going to rotate it on x-axis 90 degree like that, negative, and rotate it on z 90 degree negative. So I hope it's going to fix the problem. If we just played. Okay, let me just scale it up so we can better see it. If we play, oh, that is working. That is totally fine. And I think we have done it. Now we just need to slightly change the phase, which is facing the right direction to the camera. If we played, as you can see, splashes is going on everywhere, and this is what we wanted. We need Control S and let's save it. And now it's time to add our video to it. Well, it is very tricky and I think it is very easy on the other side as well. So we can use Blender, but we can also use After Effects to remove the background. What I have done, I used, this is going to be our footage. This one, that one, on the green screen. But what I have done inside of After Effects, I remove the background and exported it, and I was able to import it into 3D view by just going to File, Import Images as Planned without having the background, right? I'm going to scale it up like that. And if I move it towards this axis, As you can see, don't have any background, and this is what we wanted. If we go to camera view, and we can just, okay, so I'm going to select this one, just get it down like that. I'm going to move it down like that. And yeah, that's it. That is all. It's very easy. If I go to render view under rendering, I'm going to make it a cycles render. You can play around with the with different values if you want. You can add other lights into the scene if you want. And you can also, I'm going to turn off the rend right away because I want to add some other stuff like with Shift A. I'm going to add a mesh and I'm going to add a cube. So something like that. I'm going to move it up. This is going to be our volume object, right? New under shadow editor. Under principal BSD, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to add a volume shadow, principal volume. I'm going to connect it to volume. If I go to render view, I have something very dense. I'm going to make the density to something like 0.1. As you can see, we got a very dense look. So I'm going to make it a 0.02 or 0.01. And I'm going to increase the anisotropy level. So we get a lot of haze going on light. Okay, so right now we can see what is going on. We can add other lights if you want, and yeah, that is it. You can add other detail, other models from Sketchfab if you want. You can do color correction. You can just play around with different values. The other tip that I want to share is about this video. If I just go to camera view and I'm gonna make the principal DSD emission, I'm gonna grab the color and connect it to emission if you want, so it will show up a little in the scene. You can decrease it to 0.3 if you want, and yeah, that is it. There is nothing else going on in the scene. It is very easy to do. So you can just grab models from Sketchfab, scatter them around. You're done with it. So guys, thanks for watching. If you want to get the same sort of content, you can just follow along. You can like this video, share it with your friend if you want. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.